All right, Ohio State up 7-3 at halftime. This should not be a 7-3 game. Washington should honestly be up by like 17 points at this game, but whoa, a rough first half. Ohio State obviously the environment is getting to him, especially Julian Sayin. Julian Sayin looks like this is his first. It looks like it's his first road game, honestly. Not great. Ryan Day is honestly, and I don't even know. It looks like the game plan against Texas, except the Texas game was at home against the team who looks right now to be overrated. Whether this Washington team looks to be underrated and better what we thought they were going to be. And I said that. I said this in my predictions that this is going to be a trap game for Ohio State. And it looks like it is. Like, this game is absolutely a trap game for Ohio State. If they can't get something out of this, and honestly, like, the mistakes from this Ohio State team, it's getting weird. The 4th-and-1 stop where the tight end was basically lined up as the fullback and then didn't go through the hole to make the block. Instead, like, blocked a guy that was already being double-teamed for whatever reason. And then Washington makes the stop at, like, the 5-yard line. Defense, and then the defense, they do really good. I think they forced the punt. And then, yes, they forced the punt. And then Brandon Inniss fumbles the ball on the punt return. What are we doing? If we're going to win this game, we cannot make these, like, we cannot, absolutely not make these mistakes against a good team like Washington in a hostile environment. Like, this is more hostile than, honestly, the Texas-Ohio State game. Maybe not. Maybe not the Texas-Ohio State game. But it's close. It's close. Like, this is, I'm nervous. Washington could 1,000% come out of the gate in the second half. Obviously, I think Ohio State does get the ball to start the second half, which is good for us. They very well could not, though. I think they do. I'm pretty sure they do. But Ohio State could go 3-and-out again like they have for most of the first half. And then Washington can go down and score, and the environment kicks right back up. The fans get rowdy again. Like, this could go very bad, especially if this game is close in the fourth quarter, which I'm pretty sure is probably going to be. Like, this could be bad for Ohio State. Julian Sayin's got to get the ball to Jeremiah Smith more often. That touchdown pass, great play call. It was a great play call, especially because Washington is tending on, especially these third and obvious passing situations, because Ohio State can't run the ball on 3rd and 5. By the way, Bo Jackson, awesome. Should be running back 1 if he isn't already. But Washington's obviously going to bring a lot of pressure, and it's a great play call. Julian Sayin over the middle, touchdown. And that was Ohio State's only score of the game, and it came with a minute left in the first half. Is anyone else kind of nervous? Like, should we be nervous for this game? Yet again, Jeremiah Smith is proving why he's one of the best players in the country. And is actually, take that back, he is the best player in the country. If he does not win the Heisman during his time at Ohio State, I feel like that's a huge disservice, especially to the legacy of the Heisman Trophy. If you do not give the best player in college football for the 3 years that he's going to be in college the Heisman Trophy, I get not giving him to a freshman, not even having him at the Heisman ceremony. I get that, especially when Travis Hunter was there and Ashton Jeanty was there. I get that. It's whatever. But if you don't give him the Heisman Trophy this year or at all next year, what are we doing? It's a bona fide quarterback award. Travis Hunter is an outlier, obviously. But, like, and last year quarterbacks weren't really that good anyways. Anyway, but I'm getting off track again. Jeremiah Smith needs to get the ball more often. The fact that Julian Sayin is basically looking the opposite way Jeremiah Smith is ridiculous, especially in the red zone. where Jeremiah Smith has proven time and time again that he can win 50-50 balls. Don't believe me? Tennessee game, Oregon game, not Georgia game, Notre Dame game, Iowa game when he made the one-handed catch, Michigan State where he was double teamed and got the face mask and still came down with it. Like, he is more than capable of doing 50-50 balls. You got to throw it to Jeremiah Smith. Run game looks like the run game. Offensive line, it looks okay. What really is concerning, especially because we got Illinois coming up in a few weeks, who just dominated USC along the line of scrimmage. Like, we cannot stop the run. I mean, we can. It's more, this defense honestly reminds me of a better 2022 defense. And that's not going to win you a national championship, which is what the Buckeyes want to do. So, we got to fix this run game. Caden Curry looks like an awesome run stopper, but he is one guy. Illinois is going to pick up on that. Michigan's going to pick up on that. And teams in the playoff, if Ohio State makes the playoff, they're going to zone in on, you're going to run the ball to beat Ohio State. You're going to limit possessions to beat Ohio State. Michigan can do it. They've proven it over and over and over again. So you have to stop the run if Ohio State wants to be successful. You have to do it. The offense is going to be the offense. Julian Sayin looks like one of the weak links on this offense, but he'll get better as the year progresses. Washington honestly looked like the better team in that first half, if I'm being completely honest. They looked like the better team. They were able to drive down the field more consistently. They were able to get stops when they needed to defensively. And they didn't turn the ball over. Ohio State has had a turnover on a punt return. And a really good punt return, too. And I know it's Brandon Inniss, and that probably won't happen again for the rest of the season, if not his entire... No, he's a senior this year. So for the rest of his Ohio State career. But, you can't have that happen, especially on the road, in a hostile environment, where you are going over multiple time zones. And if you lose this game, the narrative is going to be Ohio State can't beat teams when you go to the West Coast. When it's a true road environment, Ohio State can't beat teams that are on the West Coast. We couldn't beat Oregon when a game we should have won last year. And we proved that in the Rose Bowl game. But I'm talking true road environments, not neutral sites. Because we've proven that we can beat West Coast teams in a neutral site over and over again. Washington game, Oregon game. So we've proven that. But when it's a true road test, and I'm not talking about Cal from 10 years ago either. When it's a true road environment and a hostile environment, and I know the Oregon game was also a night game, so that really didn't help, but we should have won that game with a absolute really annoying and a great job by Dan Lanning, obviously. But I'm getting on a tangent here. The new narrative is Ohio State can't beat teams on the West Coast, in the West Coast. The old narrative is Ohio State can't beat the SEC. Ohio State beat not one but two SEC teams on their way to a national championship. And beat the team that beat the SEC champions from last year in the national championship. So that narrative is dead and gone as far as I'm concerned. I don't care about the all-time record, blah, 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 blah. Most of that is from the Jim Tressel era where, regardless if it's... I don't even count the Ohio State-Alabama game in 2014 in the first playoff. Because it's not the NIL era. This is the NIL era. This swipes the slate clean. And it sucks because Ohio State has not beat Michigan in the NIL era. But if you lose this game, the new narrative is going to be when Ohio State goes to the West Coast and plays in a true road, hostile environment, they can't win. That's not going to be good when you go to USC. If UCLA ever gets out of the gutter, it's not going to be good when you go to the Rose Bowl against UCLA. I know they really don't have a home environment, really, but you get my point. But if Ohio State does win this game, that narrative is dead. So this game is going to decide whatever narrative that is going to come out. Right now, the narrative is Ohio State can't beat the SEC, which some people still consider that a thing. I don't. And Ohio State can't beat Michigan, which right now, they're right. Do I think Ohio State can beat Michigan this year? Of course. Do I think they will? Of course. But right now, Washington looks like a team that has the game plan to beat Ohio State. So Ohio State needs to continue to make these explosive plays. They need to stay fresh on defense. That's another big thing. If Ohio State's going to have success on defense, their offense needs to have these 5-minute drives where they're wearing out Washington's defense and they're taking the crowd out of it. And Ohio State's defense need to force 3 and outs, and then there you go. And then this game's not a game anymore. And Ohio State can easily get out of here with a win. That's all you're hoping for. No turnovers from Julian Sayin, which is really good. It's a basic game plan from Ryan Day and Brian Hartline for Julian Sayin, which I don't necessarily mind for right now. Now, if Ohio State does absolutely nothing in the second half on offense and their game plan does not change and open a little bit for Julian Sayin now that he's got his nerves out, then what are we doing? But he's got 62 yards passing in the game. Now, I know he threw for the touchdown, and that was like a 15-yard touchdown. So we can't rely on the run game right now. This isn't the Ezekiel Elliott years anymore. You need to rely on your passing game on offense. And you can't rely on Washington to make these mistakes. I know Washington has given up, I think 3 or 4 sacks already. The fake field goal, which was one of the worst play calls I've ever seen. Either it was a miscommunication by the kicker or the tight end that was going out for the catch that thought he was blocking and it was a run play basically. But you cannot rely on Washington to make those mistakes again. You can't. Their quarterback is a mobile quarterback that has a good arm. So, and he's a reliable veteran quarterback. You cannot rely on him to make any mistakes. So, as far as I'm concerned, Ohio State has to come out and punch Washington in the mouth. Let's see if they do that. OH.